So you said you started in photography?
Started in photography, yeah.
Did you go to school for photography?
No.
Oh, so what was your journey? What was your journey? How did you end up picking up the camera?
So, man, I graduated. I was an athlete, did sports, came from kind of a musical family.
Okay.
And so went to college on a track scholarship and did that, played low-level D3 basketball, and then got out of college with a music degree. Why? I have no idea why. Because I didn't plan on doing anything music. I actually wanted to be a coach and work in a high school. So I was going to go basketball and track, but I was going to go to grad school to be a counselor. So I was like, well, I don't really want to teach, but I love kids. I love sports. And I know what it did for me in my life. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So I got a job back at my high school that I graduated from, coaching, and then just kind of whatever job I could get in the school district while I was going to go to grad school, and then realized after being in it, it's like, it's too political for me. And so I realized like it wasn't me. Along that same time, I picked up a camera, or I bought a camera because I thought it'd be fun, use camera. And then people started asking me to take photos of them. And then people started paying me to take photos of them. And then before I knew it, it was like shooting 40 to 50 weddings a year and senior pictures and anything I could get my hands on. And so that's kind of how that happened.
Yeah. I think it's awesome how when you have a story that you're doing something that you love, you decide to pick something up, and then this journey happens. And then next thing you know, you're doing it. And then you just are kind of on the ride. You know what I mean?
And I think too, like the generation before me has a completely different working experience. So like my dad worked one company from when he got out of the military until he retired. And so my model was like, find a job that you can stand, be there for 40 years and retire. And it just didn't ever sit.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I don't know what I want to do enough to commit to something for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so I just started dabbling, and somebody gave me advice when I was like 24, because I was kind of wrestling with that. Well, what do I do? He said, I view my life in segments. Like right now, God has me doing this. And that may be a very long segment of my life. Maybe that is a 40-year segment, but I'm not latched on to like, well, I committed to this thing, so now I got to do this forever. And so it really, for me, when I was 23 or 24, it opened up to like, you don't have to like, no decision you make tomorrow, especially in like your career, is like, we put too much pressure on that decision.
Yeah.
Or at least we used to. And I know kids now are totally different. I mean, there's many different avenues. And so I've worked a bunch of different jobs, but the photo thing I picked up as a hobby and then became a great career for me for a season.
That's awesome. So what you're doing now with online with Allie, did that come out of nowhere?
It did kind of come out of nowhere. 5 years ago, we decided to like make a little family Instagram, and we made family like home videos, basically like of travel, of different events, and a way for us to have memories, and kind of like did vlog style of our life. Very minimal, like one a month. And then somewhere along the way, and we just like posted photos of family, and it's like, who cares? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, Allie, my wife, was like, well, we should do some of these like meme, funny marriage type videos. Like, all right, I mean, I'm on board. Like whatever you want. Like as long as you come up with ideas, like I'll be a part of it. And we started doing that consistently for about 3 months, maybe like 5 videos a week, just like trending audio things. And then something hit and got a lot of views, and something went, viral, I suppose. And then since then, it's just been a constant growth. And so it's kind of caused us to be like, well, what is this thing?
Yeah.
What do you want to even do? Like, I don't just want to make pointless, funny videos for my life.
Here's what's interesting as you say that, because I genuinely feel like you guys are doing like God's work. And this is my perspective when I found you guys, is the dynamic that you guys have when you make these videos is phenomenal. And like as a man watching you, what your specialty really is the way you're able to listen to her and then reenact exactly how she feels. And that's such a rare thing to see with any man. Like I'm happy to be sitting across like a good man. I know you're a good man because your ability to be able to portray how she's feeling, and we can feel that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's what makes me so interested and fascinated in you too, is like you and Allie, because of the willingness to share for one, and the ability to not take yourself too serious with a serious topic.
Yeah.
Like the things you guys talk about are really serious, but you find a way to make them funny. And I think you being able to express how I think men feel by acting out how Allie feels really well. So to me, they're funny, and I think that's the external stimulant like that we get. But with the things you talk about are really, really deep. And for me, how were you able to get to that? And for me, it's like thinking about the foundation. Like, did you have your mom and your dad? Did you have good examples in your life that taught you how to observe a woman?
What's funny, so man, there's a lot of parts of that question. I grew up with one brother.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
Grew up with one brother. Mom and dad together had great example of marriage. I also had a great example of marriage in my life that there wasn't anything catastrophic or hugely wrong, but we weren't just like, looking at rainbows growing up either. There were some dynamics there that my parents always had a great marriage, but there was never, it's like I never saw my parents argue.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that kind of like family where it's like you're kind of aloof to the reality of what a relationship actually looks like. I kind of got to see that firsthand. But the joke was when we first got married to Allie was, you clearly didn't grow up around women in your house. When your mom has two boys, she tends to take on, and plus a husband, and that's it. She tends to lean into the masculine side. And she's still mom, she's still feminine, but like we talk around each other in the house, not like I had a sister.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot about that stuff. I asked Allie right away. I was like, how are we going through so much toilet paper? And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we go through so much toilet paper in this house. And what is that? And I didn't know, this is going to sound way crass. You don't have to use this. I didn't know they wipe when they go number one. That's how stupid I was. So I was like, this is ridiculous. The amount of money our young selves are spending on toilet paper. I was like, you can use less then. We got to figure this out.
Okay.
So, but we both came from great homes, and both parents still together. But I'll give so much credit to her that she is an over communicator. I'm a processor by nature. She's an over communicator. And so I think how we're able to operate as a couple, and then it flows into how our videos are created, is she's really created this environment where like you can say exactly what you think and feel.
She's created that environment for you.
She's created that environment.
Okay.
I very much am like a processor. Like I'll go away and I'll hold on to it. And I'm at the same time, I'm really laid back. So I can get over most stuff and I'll just move on. Like whatever, like here we are, but she wants to talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
Through that, I think we've just been able to develop in our own relationship, like an ability to have open conversation. Oddly enough, the videos that we make started out as funny things. And I think it's honestly been almost like a therapeutic way for us to understand each other better.
Yeah.
Through joking, it's almost like we don't have to have the hard conversation about this weird topic because we're going to do this video together. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That we recognize weird things about each other along the way. But we both had great examples of parents growing up and a family unit that we wanted to emulate. It's like, okay, like how do we, at the end of the day, we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't figure out how to operate as a team, our kids are going to know it.
Yeah.
The family unit's not going to make it in the end, and we're not going to be happy. We're not going to be successful. Yeah. And this is for life. There's no other option for us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get married being like, we'll try it out. We'll see what happens. For us, this is the only thing. So we have to figure it out.
Yeah.
We have to make it work. And so making light of the normal dynamics in that is one of the best ways for us to be able to be like, accept the differences.
Yeah.
And now we can joke about it.
Yeah. And I think that what you said just now is really important. Like the normal, like the things that you guys are talking about are normal. And why I say you guys are doing God's work is because I think the more that people can realize that, hey, I'm going through this too, it's freeing. And you feel like you have a community, So like there's so many videos you guys make. I'm like, damn, dog, like he's speaking to my heart right now because like, and I think I know how to handle, because I think for some reason when I watch you act these things out, it makes me feel like I can do it, even though you're acting as Allie, because I know that you understand her, even though you're making fun of her. You know what I'm saying? You said something about being an over communicator. She's an over communicator. And I think that can be like a negative thing when you hear it. Is that something that she communicated to you, or is it something that you found through just being with her for some time? And how did you guys end up labeling yourselves as her as an over communicator and you as someone who's a processor?
That's a great question. We found out together. So we're 7.5 years apart. When we got married, she was 22, finishing up college. I had a house. I had been on my own for quite a while. And the older you get, the more stuck in your ways that you are. And so I thought I had just had nothing to work on. It's like, I got this thing figured out. You're young and we're going to figure this out together. But the thing that I loved about her was her spunk and was her ability to challenge me in that right. It's her over communication that came out in things that I was even attracted to. I didn't want someone who was so meek and so quiet. I loved our interaction. But once we got married, it was like, I don't like the over communication. I feel like you're always attacking me. I feel like, why does everything have to be talked about? Can't we just all move on? And like, it's turned into something that I can appreciate. And through that process also, it was, so she's like, let's duke it out. And then when we're done, it's like start ground zero. It's like, we're back at it. Let's go have fun in the middle of a conversation or an argument. And I'd be like, no, I'm not ready.
Yeah. What was that?
Well, a lot of the times those conversations were brought up by her because she is an over communicator. I'm more likely to just work it out on my own, maybe stuff it away a little bit, and then I'll get over it and then we'll be good. I think what it was she brought something to me. Now I feel attacked. And so we talked about it. We had the conversation. We worked it out. But I'm still sitting there like, she's been thinking about this thing for a while to be able to bring it up.
Yeah.
Now I haven't had the amount of time that you've had to think about it. So now usually as a processor, I will go away and I have to like, I don't know what that comes from, but I have to like work it out on my own after, and then we can come back together. And not like in a horrible way, but I can't laugh and joke. I can't like go on a date with you this instant after we just thought about this thing.
Yeah.
But I think through a lot of situations, so we've been married 14 years. I think through a lot of that, we've just started to figure out who each other are and only probably recently start to think that that's okay. Who you are is okay.
Yeah, like that acceptance is so...
Yeah. And I think most people in a marriage who don't have a great marriage, they don't get to the point of that's okay. They get to the point of resentment.
Yeah.
So now you start to resent those things. I don't think neither of us knew when we started making videos, especially about the things that we make videos about, stupid, funny videos. I think we just started making videos about our own life. And then we realized it's everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was talking about earlier.
You mentioned it. And I, what sparked it was like, we didn't have some like foreknowledge of like, everyone deals with the same stuff. You're always told that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until people started messaging us and comments being made, like hundreds and thousands of comments that are like, oh my gosh, we deal with this all the time. And the private messages of women being like, I thought I was the only one. And I thought I was crazy. And my husband thought I was crazy, or messages from husbands as well. Like, man, thanks for bringing this up, because I did think she was the only one. And so I think more than ever, I mean, this has helped our marriage as much as maybe it's helped other marriages bring this stuff to light, because now it's like, oh, you're not a one-off crazy person that I need to figure out how to fix so this marriage can work well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that you said, because I think in my marriage, like in my journey to become a good man, the man that I always have wanted to be, wherever that means. I don't really even know what that means. I think I'm still figuring it out. But except I had a hard time. So just a little background about me. I'm from LA. So I come from a whole different culture. I'm a black male. I'm from the hood. Charlotte's from Minneapolis. She's from Minnesota. So she grew up in Southwest Minneapolis, raised by a white family, etc. Right. And, coming in together, I felt like the deeper we got into our relationship, the more I felt like I wasn't accepted.
Mm.
And that wasn't a good enough excuse to not look at myself and see things that I probably had to change because my environment that I lived in, I don't have to act the same way that I did there over here and also in my relationship. So the dynamic of understanding what our spouses need to accept versus what we need to change is a
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really, really difficult
Yeah.
thing to deal with.
There's a line there
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And I think that, when you talk about that quarreling that you and Allie go through of she brings up, she's had time to process everything and then come over to you and over communicate. And it feels like she's attacking you. And you're like, what the hell's going on, bro?
Yeah, right.
Like, what are we talking about? I didn't even know that
Right.
happened. And from my own experience, as I've worked through this, I've realized that when Charlotte comes to me with all of this stuff that I'm not ready to listen to, and I'm still willing to talk to her about it, and then I get to the end and I still feel like crap, most of the time I've realized that I'm dealing with shame or guilt because whatever she's coming to me about, I potentially did something wrong and now I feel guilty and I associate that with anger and frustration and now I can't function.
Yeah.
And for me, being able to identify, oh, damn, I just feel guilty because I feel like I could do better. And not being able to label that before all the years that we were together, I would just get mad and like point the finger at her and not realize like, hey, like I think she just trusts me enough to come talk to me about it. And that in itself is freeing. And that's why I actually like, what was it for you? Because to me, it was the feeling of shame and guilt. And this is a new discovery for me, like the past couple of months. And now when she comes to me, I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on? And just knowing that I'm not getting attacked changes everything. Because now, even this morning, I was telling Alex, she came to me this morning about this week is the week of her sister passing away. Her sister passed away when I think she was like 12. And I knew it was going to be a hard week. And so I'm prepared for whatever was going to be thrown at me, right? Whatever's going to be thrown at me, I was ready for it. And she came to me this morning and she said, hey, I'm having a hard time. I said, I'm aware. And then we start chuckling about it. And she goes, I just want to let you know I'm having a hard time. And what I want to do is start doing one thing a day where I can just get it to completion. I'm like, okay. And she's like, so like yesterday, I went to get the car clean. Mind you, yesterday she asked me, the car seats were out of the car. I'm like, why are the car seats out of the car? She's like, because I got the car clean. I was like, oh, for real? And she's like, yeah, you can't tell. I was like, no. So then when she brought that up in the conversation this morning, I'm like, oh, damn, my bad. I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings. I had no idea that this is part of your thing. I just saw the Chick-fil-A cup and the napkin. I just associated that it didn't get clean. So I apologize for that. And before I'd be like what? Like, what do you want? I'm having a hard time. Like, yeah, I know. Like, because you acted mean towards me. So because I feel attacked. And now that I can label these feelings, now it's like, okay, there's no need for me to feel guilty or shameful in this. Like, she's coming to me because she trusts me.
Right.
And that is freeing. That's why I asked you that question, because I just dealt with the shame and guilt for a long time.
Well, she's committed to figuring this out together. That's why she's bringing it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, man, for me right away, I don't like being misrepresented. Maybe this is where it stems from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like when anybody gets misrepresented. Mm-hmm. And I have this weird thing. It's like, I don't care if you don't like me if you correctly assess who I am and you don't like it, that's fine.
Athlete mentality, right?
Yeah, like, fine. We can all move on.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel like misrepresented, and I think that's where if she were to come with something to me, my defensiveness comes from like, oh, you think I'm doing something on purpose, or because I don't care, or because I maybe spoke with a tone, which I do, and I didn't know that. But I think that and mixture of pride is like probably where my stuff came from.
Mm-hmm.
With you, I'm guessing both of you, how long have you been married?
Going on 9 years.
God dang.
Yeah.
I'm guessing both of you have self-assessed enough, and somewhere it's like you eventually learn how to like meet in the middle on some of that stuff. What are the things for you that you found have helped your insecurity and how you respond? Or are there things when she comes to you, you're like, God, this helps me to think about in response. How have you changed how you respond?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing for me is knowing that I have things to change and that's okay. Because for me, if you change, like I always thought change is a bad thing when it comes to your personality.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're coming at my personality, who I am, I'm not listening to you. This is who I am. Accept me for who I am. I am who I am. Like it is what it is. That's kind of the language that I grew up on. So realizing like, yo, I can change. I can learn new skills to give my wife what she needs, and I still can be who I am. It's the same thing about you can say one thing 100 different ways. I think you can communicate how you feel 100 different ways. So once I realized that, it helped me understand I'm not being attacked. And the only way I'm able to do this is getting the skill to listen. I didn't know how to listen. Like, and I'm sure you can attest to this too. Being an athlete, the direction is very direct in what you need to do and how to get better at.
Yep.
Whereas in marriage, it's not like that. It's like you have to go through this maze of figuring out, okay, what is going on? How do you feel? I'm communicating how you feel and it's still not right. So am I not getting something right? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's realizing, hey, I can change. It's not changing who I am. And then I have to build this skill of listening. And just through listening, the impulse or the compulsiveness to react just goes away because I'm actually listening now. And when you can listen knowing that you're not getting attacked, it's freeing. So I think now I'm developing new skills to communicate to her that I see her without just telling her I see her, because sometimes she probably doesn't even want me to say that.
Yeah.
So I'm in this new phase of just listening, and I've been able to unlock that through feeling safe that, hey, it's okay for me to change. It's not changing who I am as a person at all.
I think I've recognized in Allie that her desire most times, the conversation is not getting brought up in a me versus you. It's getting brought up in a we are one and we need to fix this. Like we need to fix this together. And she doesn't know how else to bring it up than to just ask me or bring something up. And I think we all need to learn how to be just less offended. Because I think it's fun to be offended. As an athlete, it's fun to get mad at something. It's fun to like go at it with the aggressive side of things. But it's not worth getting offended over. If you trust the person that you're with, right?
Yeah.
Now, I can't speak for every marriage. I can't speak for every relationship. I can say you should work with everything you are to be able to get to that point where you can trust each other. Our marriage was a journey to trust. Allie got cheated on by a boyfriend long before me. And so when we first got married, she had these fears that I was doing the same thing. Until finally a friend of ours said, why do you keep placing that on Justin? He's never done anything to break your trust. And that was a pivotal moment for us into like, oh my gosh, like we put so much on somebody else based on a different former experience that we might have had. And once you say I do, and I can only speak to the marriage thing here, like relationships similar, but once you say I do, like that's it.
That's it.
For me, that's it. And for us, that's it. And so we have to get to that point.
How do you think people can, I'm not even going to say stop, but work on not being offended? I think that's a really, really complicated thing to do. Or what did you have to do to become less offended?
I had to realize that I wasn't perfect and that I was maybe doing things that weren't beneficial.
Yeah.
I had to learn, like I had to come to the acceptance of like, maybe you're not God's gift to this marriage. Maybe you're not right all the time just because it's easy for you to point out her flaws. Maybe you do speak with a tone. Maybe you are selfish in that area. Maybe you didn't even do anything wrong, but you have to do something different. I think there's a difference between you made a big mistake or you need to learn how to operate different in that scenario. Right? So like if Allie comes to me with a problem and I just immediately jump to, well, here's how you fix that. That's not wrong, but maybe what she's looking for is, I just want you to listen. Just listen to me. So now I have to kind of ask her, is this a you want help conversation or you want to be heard conversation?
Was it hard for you to be able to ask that question?
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think that is? I think I have, because I'm going through this now and I'm wondering why you feel that way. Then I can say how I feel that way.
Is this a you want to fix conversation?
Yeah, like asking that question before even present. Well, it's basically just asking her that question before you get into the. But if she comes to you and tells you something, and then now you're going to ask that question before responding, like why is that still hard for you?
Part of that is I think maybe I should already know. Lean into just listen.
Yeah.
As men, we just want to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just fix it. I can tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I might be wrong though.
No, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
No, you are right.
She doesn't want that. If she wants that, she'll ask me, how do I fix this?
Yeah. And I mean, to defend all the men out there, I kind of feel like women struggle with asking, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
So it's this interesting dynamic where we both want the same things and we're trying to figure out how to do it together, which brings me to this next point that I want to explore with you, is about listening. I believe that listening is a skill and it's something that you have to learn, especially depending on how well you've seen people listen in your home growing up. And for you, did you always feel like you were a good listener, or did you learn over time?
I'm a massive work in progress on the listening side. I usually, by nature, in a conversation, I'm processing a rebuttal, not not a what are you actually saying?
Yeah.
And that's like my nature. And so I would be lying to you if I told you I figured out how to listen well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't figured out how to listen well. And I have a wife that's patient and a wife that's an over communicator. And we have such a strong dynamic now and it wasn't always like this, but that now she can come to me and say, you're not listening. She's also recognized, and I give honestly, like, we have a good marriage because I have a great wife. I'm like the biggest offender probably. She knows, like, there are moments where she goes, I'm gonna have to come back to him on this. He's not ready to hear X, or he's not hearing whatever I'm saying. And for her, she's learned to, like, find a time where I'll be receptive. At the same hand, I'm like daily trying to figure out how do I just run to the back of the line and serve her better. And I have a lot of opinions. I'm very opinionated, which is why this is one of the reasons that she loved when we got married. Like, one of your strongest, I don't even know if that's a strong point, can also be your weakest, you know? The listening thing though, I've had to learn, like, she's not just somebody that I live in the same house with. She's not someone that I chose to marry. She's not someone that's just the mother of my kids. She's someone that wants the best for us together. Mm-hmm. If I know that to be true, she has a great perspective that I need to hear. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're created different. Like, we're created with different skill sets that we bring to the marriage, different things. Like, she's way better with our kids in certain areas than I'm with our kids. She's way more intuitive about how we are doing than I am about how we are doing. If she needs a date, she'll have to flat it. This is why I tell you, I haven't figured out the listening thing or even the awareness thing at all. Most times, if she needs a date night, if she's feeling like we're not that close, she'll literally come to me and go, I need a date this week. And it's my cue. I don't have to be offended. I'm not offended anymore. I used to be like, well, we're busy, and we went on a date 2 weeks ago, and we went all out, and we did the thing, and but now I'm like, this is a simple solution. I'll call a sitter. I'll find a night in a couple nights, and we'll just go on a date. And she's been really good at learning how to communicate to me what she needs directly. I think that's one thing that men have a hard time dealing with, and is if we're not spoken to directly, we don't care to try to read between the lines. We're like, stop playing games, just say what you mean. But then when that happens, we can get offended easily. And so she's learned, and she'll say this, like, men aren't going to be able to read our minds. So we just got to tell them what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys made a lot of videos that portray this in a bunch of different ways. There's something you said, I have a good marriage because of my wife, which essentially you're not excluding all that you do when you say that. But you just gave a beautiful example of area that you grew in, which is being able to listen and just go on the date, right? Like that's hard. That's like one of the things that I've realized that has really helped me in my life and in my marriage is what Allie says. I think men are never going to understand women, and women are never going to understand men. And I think about that from a literal biological perspective, that our brains are wired differently. They have more testosterone. I mean, they have more estrogen. We have more testosterone. That in itself was enough for me. But okay, she's not tripping. It's just, this is how she is, and it's cool. So when I'm listening to you talk about you have a good marriage because of your wife, and I hear you give that example, I think men need to realize that that is a huge win because we're serving them the way that they desire to be served.
Right.
And I think for men, when we have to lower ourselves or humble ourselves, it doesn't feel like a victory. And to me, it sounds like that's exactly what you're like. That is a victory that will pay dividends to you as a man first, which ultimately feeds off into the marriage and into your kids. Like that makes sense, or I'm completely just making that up?
Absolutely. It when she's fulfilled, she treats me like she's fulfilled. We have a different dynamic when I know my wife is filled up. And when our pre-marriage, we read a book. It's called Love and Respect. And to boil it down very, very black and white, women desire to be loved, men desire to be respected. And if I want a successful marriage, I have to let my wife know that I love her. She has to feel that I love her. Likewise, I need to feel like my wife respects me. And this isn't not in a chauvinist way, but I don't need to feel loved the same way that she needs to feel loved. So if I take her out on a date because she said she needed it and she wanted to feel close, that's in her mind, like, he's loving me well because he's seeing the needs that I have. In our home, if I'm disciplining our kids, or if I'm loving on our kids, or if I'm made a decision, it's almost like the best thing that she can do is for me to know that she has my back in whatever we did with our kids and whatever we did together. And it's that concept for me. It's like, if my husband knows I respect him, and respect his leadership in our home and his contribution, then she knows like how to communicate with me. I also know how, when she does communicate to me with something, that she's not trying to attack me. That's the hardest thing, though. The hardest thing is to address an issue in your relationship and neither person come away feeling attacked, but leaving feeling like you're on the same team.
Do you feel like one comes before the other with love and respect?
It's circular. Somebody has to make a move. They do, yes. Once one's there, but somebody has to jumpstart it.
One thing that I've been learning is, I've always said love is a verb, and I still wholeheartedly believe that, but I also know that love is a feeling. Yeah. And I think that love could be felt through action. And when Charlotte feels loved, I think she feels more secure. And through that, she respects me and my decisions because I'm acting out of love.
Absolutely.
And that is really, really hard to do, because I think to love is to love yourself first And then through understanding how to love yourself first, you learn how to love others. And I always try to focus on being a good human. Like when I think about my faith, to me, faith is a noun, but I also say that faith is a verb, because to believe in God, to believe in Jesus and what he did, like even thinking about Jesus, he had to go do something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he wasn't just staying around. He had to go do something. So I kind of look at my life in the same way. I'm like, okay, I need to go do something. So if I have faith in myself to do this and I feel good about myself, that pours into my wife
Right.
and into my kids, into my
Right.
friendships, into my work. And now I'm acting out of love. So now people can respect me because I'm not trying to be a alpha male and try to rule people by the octave of my voice, or me being a black male, or me being taller than people, or me making money, whatever it is. That doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if people are respecting me, it's because I know that they feel loved, and love can feel like security.
Mhm.
Love can feel like being seen. And that's why I love the faith component, because I think that's what, God does in a lot of ways. He makes you just feel seen and understood and not alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even with that, like John 3:16, like the most famous Christian verse of the Bible, for God so loved the world that he gave.
Mm-hmm.
Like he loved the world, so he gave his son. He
Mhm.
gave, and not even just like a intimate relationship. Every relationship is about give and take.
Yeah. What does leadership look like in your home now? Has it been the same when you first started? Has it been different? Has it changed since you started having kids? Because I think people don't understand that leadership changes as you grow with a person.
Yeah. I'll flat out say we have a hardline, like traditional type of biblical marriage and how we feel like we operate.
Mhm.
That in our house, like husband is the head of the home. And that sounds so harsh to say, but we don't make any decision that we don't make together. If anything, it's the onus on what happens in our family comes down on me at the end. If we make a decision together that isn't successful, it's on me.
How do you feel about that?
It is what it is.
Here's a different question. Is it unfair?
No.
Why?
Life's not fair.
Mhm.
Things happen to us that aren't fair. But in a business, this is a terrible analogy, so I don't even know if I should go with this because I haven't even thought it through. But in a business, there's somebody that makes the decision. Or we can go to sports. Michael Jordan loses in the finals, and he gets to the post-game presser, and he had 40 points. This is a hypothetical. 15 rebounds, 12 assists,
Okay.
and they lose. And he doesn't say, I had a great game. My teammates lost. He says, I'm the leader of this team. We need to do better.
Mm-hmm.
And in our home, we don't make decisions separate from each other. Allie trusts me enough that if I have a preference in a decision that we have to make as a family, that she trusts me to make that decision and lead our family in that way. At the same hand, if I know my wife well enough to know that if she's very hard stance on something that I have the opposite on, well, that's not a decision we can make right now then. If we're not on the same page, we probably can't make a decision one way or the other on this thing. Does that make sense?
It does, but I'm wondering in that scenario, do those problems or situations get swept under the rug, or eventually you guys come to a mutual ground to make a decision on it?
I'd have to think of a real life example of that. I would say if not dealt with at some point, swept under the rug forever becomes a really big problem later.
Yeah.
I think for everything. I think
Yeah.
if you're not on the same page, that's why it's hard to marry someone who doesn't share the same faith as you. It's probably hard to marry someone who doesn't share some of the same
Morals
with
Yeah.
you. Well, the morals. Politically, if there are hardwired things in you politically that you disagree with, it might be hard to be married long term. Not like, oh, I disagree on how we spend money or politically or how I'm talking about like probably more along the moral issues. But if my wife and I disagree on how we spend money, what percentage of our money we give, what percentage of our money we say, if we're not on the same page with that and we just decide like, well, we'll just sweep it under the rug for now. Well, that's like going to become a thing later.
Yeah.
There was a stat, I don't remember the number, but it's a high number of marriages end in divorce that revolve around money. It's a massive number. And so if that's a thing that you're just willing to be like, oh, who cares? We'll just sweep it under. Then you're going to be in trouble probably. So I think for us, if we don't have conclusion on something, it's not a dead issue. We have to figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
But we also probably can't make a decision right now about something that we both aren't in agreement with.
Yeah. I felt this before where, I was a big sweep under the rug guy because I think I was a processor and I can figure it out by myself. But when it came up after she processed it, I wasn't ready for it because I wasn't really processing how I should have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I think about leading in a home, I'm so fascinated by this topic because like you saying, we ultimately make I ultimately end up making like okay, we're doing this or not doing this, but we mutually come up with a decision to do it. But I'm the one who said, yeah, so if it falls on me, it's over. And that is just my like default what's the word? My default, like pessimist or like I'm blanking out on the word, but just the way my brain works, I'm just like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Like even when I found out that we were all born sinners, I'm like, I didn't do nothing. Like, I didn't do nothing. So how am I getting wrapped up into this stuff?
Yeah.
So when I just think about this dynamic of leadership and it's the man's responsibility, and when it falls, even though we made a decision together, it's my fault. I struggle with that.
Yeah.
Because I am in a point in my life where I'm understanding myself as a human and also understanding my faith. And now I'm trying to blend those together.
Right.
And it's really, really hard, especially the more that I learn about the Bible and the history of it. And it's like, how much of this is me just going against who we are as humans versus a doctrine that I'm reading that's telling us how to do something. And there's other texts out here in the world that are doing the same thing. And it's hard because I do wholeheartedly have my faith and believe that Christ died for me. But it's still like, this is the human side of things that I'm dealing with. I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
That is just like my fault if we mutually come to something.
Right. It doesn't sound fair.
Yeah.
It's odd, the more I read the Bible, and if I take a step back, at the end of the day, all of the instructions, all of the rules, all of the this or that, if I do believe God is the creator of all this whole thing, then he's created it with an order in place. Why does the Bible tell us to give? It's not so that you can get more, but it's that we're created to be generous. And when you're generous, this is my belief. The order of creation of how it works is you're going to be better off when you're generous. You're going to be better off when you do these things. There's a verse that Paul says, all things are permissible. Not all things, but in this context, all things are permissible. I think it's about drinking alcohol. All things or eating certain foods. All things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial. And when I think through leading my house, I could lead it in a way that gives up responsibility. And though that might be permissible, it's probably not beneficial. My wife is very much like, I don't want the weight of that decision. I don't want the weight of responsibility. And I'm like, I don't necessarily want that weight either, but
that is a really good way to look at it. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Interject. It's not fair.
I think the weight is such a good thing to sit and think about, because a lot of the times when my wife comes in, like, puts these things on me, is to lighten her load. It's to lighten the weight of what she's feeling. And I think that even if when she's doing that and I'm listening and I'm able to take that weight, like it's almost like I see like she's teleporting it to me or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I can handle that. And this goes back to the difference between men and women just biologically, is I think that men can have a higher like we don't kill me everybody, but like we can do more, like physically do
Right.
more, so we can handle more stress. Where women are more equipped with the kids and doing things that their emotional intelligence is much higher.
Right.
So I think that when you're explaining about passing off weight, I think that just completely helps me to the max. Because if she's coming to me like, hey, we're making this together, but this weight is too much, I need you to push the button, I'm just like, fuck it.
Let's go.
I'm gonna do it. And
Let's go.
if we fall, I'll take that one to the chin. Give me some, bro. That's that's a good one for real.
But if you fall and your wife is in the place where she understands that you're mutually understanding and what that arrangement is or that order is, if you fall, which we all will fall at some point, if you fall, she's going to have your back.
Yeah. And oh, damn, bro, this is good. Because it reminds me of just being on a football team.
Absolutely.
It's like, yo, if we all know what to do on a play, I'm going to go for the pick.
That's it.
But I missed it. It's like, damn, and we lost. But everybody got my back.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, bro, it's all good. We're going to go to practice on Monday. We're going to work on it. We're going to watch the film. It's going to be all good. And we go play again. Damn, that's some good shit right there, Justin. For real. I did not think about the
stick with the sports analogy, though. You're going to go for the pick. You're trying to make a play to win the game.
Yeah, for the team.
For the team. Now, some people try to go for the pick for themselves.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it for the team. Also, coaches are always taking the blame. Good coaches will say, hey, we lost. It's on me. We got to prepare better next week.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they know there are situations out there that were out of my control.
Mm-hmm.
I can only coach the players that are on the field. I can call the right play, but if you slip a block, I can't control everybody out there. But a good coach would say, we can do better next week.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's not a perfect analogy, because in life, if you're like, oh, we need to buy this investment property, or I'm going to switch jobs and do my dream thing, and it falls flat. But at the end of the day, like if you're there together, you're doing it together.
And this is a heavy one. This is a heavy one because there's a difference between making a football play, and there's a difference between like being homeless and not being homeless, or being broke and not being broke. And to figure out how to have beautiful teamwork within marriage is so complicated.
Yeah.
And it's really, really scary. And that's why leadership is scary. And I think that's why we're called to be the ones to push the button, because of how much weight it takes to make these really big decisions with two human beings with different thoughts, different backgrounds, different opinions, varying morals, right? It's super complicated. So I think it's easy to put it in the analogies with sports. But when I think about marriage, I'm just like, damn, like that's a lot. Like that is a lot. And that's really hard. And to lead in marriage is scary. It really, really is scary. And I mean, do I dare say that it's risky? And not risky in the sense of you're making a risk by being with someone, but you are taking a risk of hurting people, hurting the person that you love the most.
Yep.
Sheesh.
But also, you throw kids in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
How old are your kids?
7, 5, and 2.
Yeah, right. 7, 5, and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 10-year-olds and an 8-year-old. And I look at them and I think, please, Lord, don't let me mess this up.
Mm.
Help me be a good dad. That at the end of the day, that lets them know that I love them, but that didn't save them from the world. But that I'll help them whenever I can. That I'll challenge them. That I'll let them walk through hard situations so they know that life isn't always easy. You know this. Life is not easy. With my kids, I can't protect them from everything, even though that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
In my marriage, God, please don't let me mess this up. Every day we got to wake up as men and we have to think, how can I be better? because there's people around me that need me to be better.
And are looking at you to be better, and they don't even know it.
They don't even know it.
Yeah.
My kids, all your kids know, said, your kids just know you're their world.
Mm-hmm.
They wake up every day and said and mom are their world. And one day they're going to get outside of that world and they don't look at you as like, I wish dad was better today. Like you can mess up and you can apologize and they'll be like, yeah, I love you, dad. That's okay. I apologize to my kids all the time. Hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. Man, I'm sorry for getting frustrated. That's okay, dad. If you can be humble enough to learn when, and this is a marriage thing too, if you can be humble enough to learn to apologize, but we have a tough time because we have so much pride. But if you can figure out how to learn to apologize, everybody is softer in an apology.
How do you think we can get that to learn how to apologize? It's a really complicated thing. And when I hear you speak about, what was the word you just used? Learning how to apologize, pride. For me, I wonder if pride can be eliminated by understanding that you feel guilty and you feel shame because you're not performing.
Yeah.
Because that's how we're wired.
Yep.
So is pride something that is fed by guilt and shame, and then the only way you know how to express it is through anger and frustration?
Yes.
And leaving.
Nailed it. Yeah. I don't like getting called out when I'm wrong. When I played sports, I was the first one. If I made a mistake, I had like anger problems. I got teed up more than anybody I know in basketball.
What position did you play?
I was a shooting guard.
Okay.
I didn't have the dribbling skills, but I could shoot.
I mean, shooting is all that matters.
And I could jump.
Can you still jump now?
No, sir.
Last time I jumped, I popped my calf.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I remember there was like 8 years ago. This is how old I am. 8 years ago, I was playing softball. Went for a diving catch in the outfield, ripped my hamstring, and I was like, I'm officially done with sports.
Yeah.
I'm getting hurt playing softball. So forget basketball. I can't even get on the court anymore.
Oh no. Do you play pickup at all anymore?
I can't. No, my last year of college, I tore my knee up, ACL, MCL, meniscus in a game, 3 knee surgeries, and I just got lazy and out of shape after that. And if you're not keeping your strength training, especially if you have a knee injury,
it catches up.
It catches up to you. So I mean, if I were to like get back consistent and strengthen the muscles around my knees, I could get out and run a little bit. But I had such a big anger problem. Sorry, back to that. Such a big anger problem. And I think it was after I was out of college, I realized, why am I like so angry? I'm embarrassed I messed up. And I want everyone else to know, I know before. You don't have to come down on me. I already know I messed up. And I think my like outburst came out of like, I already know I'm wrong. I said, I don't need you to tell me that I'm wrong.
That's real.
And so like the pride thing is the anger comes out because it's easier to get angry and then you can deflect it.
Yeah.
If I can get mad in the situation, I'll have to deal with the fact that I actually messed up.
Or point the finger at somebody else.
Yeah. And I don't have to listen to you get mad at me because I'll yell louder.
Yeah. And I'm willing to fight over really deal with how I'm feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's still like nature in me.
Yeah.
But I think the longer we've been married, and maybe it's the same thing for you, you just figure out how to communicate with each other better. Hopefully, like even small step by small step. But that comes from, it's both ways. It's like you understanding her, how she operates, and she understanding how you operates better. But there is this root of pride in both sides in a marriage that will completely destroy it. Pride and resentment are, I think, the two things that will hurt a marriage faster than anything.
Yeah, and I think those are it's so funny because the journey to, I would say, toxic pride and toxic resentment is a slow burn, but when you're there, it's hard to dig out. It is hard to dig out because now everything that you used to protect yourself,
oh man,
it's not going to work. Now, what are you going to do? Do you have tools to work your way up out of this? And I'm speaking for myself. Like, you know, I talked about the difference in dynamics of the way that we grew up, and I had a bunch of things that I did that were not useful living in Minnesota for one, and then being married to a woman from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So I had to dig out like, hey, I love this woman. I do see a future with her. I do got some stuff to work on. I don't have the answers, but I trust and believe in myself to go get them. I'm going to get a therapist. I'm going to read books. I'm going to stop hanging out with certain people. I'm going to stop listening to certain music.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to start listening to certain people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And you start to be like, damn, I can do this. I got to just shift my focus and I got to believe that I can do this. And I think I'm a guy, I love a mark of measurement. Like, you know, like I like to know that I'm getting better. You know what I'm saying?
Sports.
So with sports, you get that from the strength coach. You get that from the head coach, the position coach, whatever. You got to become your own mark of measurement, your own coach, and come up with your own benchmark to get, you want to get to that benchmark. And in the beginning, that was really difficult for me because I didn't have the outside validation. But when I realized that I wanted to hit something that meant something to me, I didn't really give a damn who was looking around or who was looking for me to do it. I did that in the beginning in the marriage part. I'm like, oh, I'm really working on myself. I'm talking better. Like, and she ain't saying nothing. Now it don't even matter if I talk better because she ain't saying anything. And now that I know that if I can work on myself and hit this benchmark to learn how to articulate my thoughts better, and I can see that Charlotte can hear me because the way that she's responding to me, I'm like, oh, damn, I am getting better.
Yeah.
I am getting better. And that's 100 times better than a coach tapping on me, I'm gonna be like, you did a good job.
Well, also think about like you're a football player.
Mhm.
You didn't just play games.
I mean, we practiced 100
Yeah.
X times games.
When you were in college, you had, I'm guessing, a morning workout routine. You had weights you had to hit. You had practices. You're constantly figuring out how you can get better. You're working on your game. Nothing's by accident. There's zero things by accident. The only thing that's by accident in sports is you have a natural ability. And you've seen the guys that I've seen that have more ability than anyone that have a lack of intentionality and a lack of work ethic and lack of discipline.
Mhm.
And what happens to those guys?
They don't make it.
Some of them might make the league.
Mhm.
And we have those freaks, but the vast majority of people, they fall off faster than anybody. The thing about marriage is it's a 24/7 game that most of us don't feel like we have to be intentionally working on.
Mhm.
We just, and same thing with parenting, being a dad. We just kind of hope it works out. It's like showing up to a game and being like, hope we win today. I hope we can figure it out. I hope and sometimes you will. Sometimes you will win. Sometimes you'll have a great day at home.
Mhm.
But the intentionality piece and the discipline piece of like, I have to get better. And this kind of feel like this is like all encompassing what we talked about. It's like, how do I get better?
Yeah.
And most of us kind of go through our life and marriage of like, I hope it works.
Mhm.
You would never, as an athlete, you would never think that. You would never approach
Yeah, that's a good point.
it that way. You would never think, I hope it works out this weekend.
Mhm. What does hope mean? Hope is like you kind of have wishful thinking that everything's gonna be
Wishful
okay.
thinking. Wishful thinking.
Yeah. And why do we do that when you want to be married with somebody for the rest of your life and the best that you can give is hope? Is it because we just don't want to work at it?
It's the first relationship in your life that takes intentionality.
Mm.
For the rest of your life, your family's always going to be there. They're your family. And your family dynamics are your family dynamics. You got the one tough sibling, the one weird parent, the one, or maybe y'all get along great. The family dynamics are what they are. Every other friendship you have in your life, if you have a hard friendship, see you later, dude. I'm finding somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out. I'm done hanging around him.
Mhm.
This is the only time in your life that you choose somebody and you supposedly choose them for life.
Mm.
And so it's the first time you've ever had to think, how does this work out? How do you choose this for life?
Yeah. And you know what's coming up for me is that whole weight thing.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot to carry. So I'm gonna just put it into hope.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work out, it's like,
Then you don't have to take onus either.
yeah. It didn't fail because of me. So I'm gonna just hope that it goes well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes two people. Like,
Yeah.
it takes two people to do it.
Yeah, it does. And I think the more that we can show how there are men who are trying to get better, and there are men who are internally looking at themselves, trying to fix ourselves for ourselves first, and because of the roles that we're going to be in, which is husband, father, leader, et cetera, et cetera. And it's difficult, and it's complicated, and it's scary, and it can feel dark, but it's worth it. Like, getting on the other side is so worth it. And that's why I appreciate what you and Allie do, because I think you give all of us a glimpse of, I'm going through the same exact thing. And although it's packaged in humor, it doesn't matter, because everybody feels seen. And I appreciate everything that you and Allie do. But before we leave, I got a question that's just roaring on the internet. So is it Vagle or is it Vagle? Like, how do you
That is
pronounce your
the
last
question.
name?
If you're a solicitor and you call me and you ask for Justin Vagle, I'll say this is him. But it's Vagle,
Okay.
and I don't expect anybody to remember it.
Okay.
It just is what it's Vagle.
Okay.
It's Vagle. So don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. It's important.
Where did that name? I don't even know the right terminology for this. Like, what is that
I
name?
believe it's Norwegian. I'm like so my family, my dad's side, 100% Norwegian. My mom's side's a mixture between Norwegian and Swedish. I think I'm like a third generation born in the United States. So they're all still over there.
Okay.
A bunch came over here, but
Have you ever been there?
I've been to Sweden once and got to meet a couple relatives.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was wild.
That's awesome.
It is a weird thing when you're like, we're connected in this weird way. Like, we all know our aunts and uncles around, grandpa's family, but to have somebody that grew up in a completely different culture, completely different country, the one that your ancestry line came from is wild. My mom's really into that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a typical like millennial Gen X boundary guy. That's like, whatever. I'm just here. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so that's where it came from.
Yeah. Nice. All right, bro. I appreciate you so much. And I think we should do this again one day.
Thanks for having me on, man. I love this type of conversation. This is why I'm here. This is why we exist to do stupid videos. It's because we do see the value in bringing light and joy to our marriage and parenting and all of that stuff. And we're all figuring it out together. We all deal with the same thing. And it's all right. It's all right that we are.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everything works out the way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. Everything works out.